Hello, hello. How you guys doing? I'm gonna wait a couple minutes just before, see if this is working. Hello, hello. Hey, there I am. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Perfect. Yo guys, what's up? I'm Conro. Thanks for tuning in. I'll wait a couple more minutes before a few more tuners or viewers come in. Yo! Yo, hi. What's dude? What's up, bro? Revealed Recordings is the best. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm Conro. I just made a track that got released on Revealed last week called Something About You. It's a Paris Blom remix, or I did a remix for Paris Blom. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how I made it. I think we got enough viewers now. I'll dive into the track. Thanks, guys. Okay, alright, well, I'm going to dive into the track. I'm going to show you guys a bit about how I made it. I'm going to change the screen up a little bit. Alright, so you can't really see my face, but I'll dive into the track a little bit. So I was asked about to do this track for the Ultra Anthem, and so I kind of had a couple ideas with what I wanted to do. I want to start off with like a nice piano intro, so I started off with this guy. You can hear it. So it was a piano in contact, just pretty basic, kind of simple EQ on it. Wanted to make the chords kind of epic sounding. Yeah, and then usually with my pianos, after a little bit, I like to build it up into something. So I added just a really simple synth underneath it. Oh, something happened there. Anyways, so I layer the piano with this kind of epic sounding build. There's just a synth that's building with it with a cutoff filter and silent. It's a synth that I've used for pretty much like all of my tracks since like 2012. Sounds like this. Oh, come on. There we go. So it's just building with a cutoff filter here. Super white noisy. And then I'll dive into the drop in a little bit. I'll just kind of show you what I was doing for the beginning. Paris sent me over these really sick arpeggiators. I don't know if you can hear that. It says... And then I just did some slowdown thing there. And then in the drop here, I just added like, I don't know, pretty generic sounding build up, just claps and lots of white noise, filtering, risers, pretty simple stuff for the build up. What I was really stoked about on this track though is I recorded on my Epiphone, my guitar. I got this lick right here. Yeah, I did that on my guitar, recorded it into the computer. It just sounded, I wanted to make it sound like a Coldplay, like some big sounding guitar, so I was pretty excited how it turned out. I layered it on the drop as well back on this section over here. And here going there. And I also want to say thank you for all the support on this track so far. It's been really cool seeing all you guys patting me back on the back and saying thanks. So, anyways, I'll go up into the kind of a little bit more into the drop area. I've been doing this thing with my kick drums. where I add just a tiny bit of a pre-kick to it, like not a top kick, but a pre-kick. So it's just a tiny reversed kick. But then with the kick, it's really subtle. You can't hear it too much when it's playing with all this stuff, but at the second part of it, it's got this really cool sound here. It's really subtle, but it sounds really dope. And then obviously with my snare on this track, I've got the same kind of thing, a reverse. On actually every one of the snare hits, I've got a reverse. It's just a reverse tail that I bounced out and then reversed and put right before the snare drum. And then every time the kick happens, I don't know why I did this, but added like a crash. So, and I don't. This is the first time I've done that, but it kind of made it sound a little more epic, which I was pretty stoked about. Yeah, and that was. I can go into detail. Like the kick's a pretty generic kick. I think I actually might have sampled that from a newer Zed tune. Yeah, but anyways, I've been doing this also on Logic's got a nice little sampler that I do. So on this build up, I just got this kind of trap sounding snare, the pitch bend, working on all the way up with another snare that I have. I've used it in pretty much all my tracks as well. Building up, building up. Yeah, so I was pretty happy about the build-up, and obviously with this track in mind when I was making it, I knew it was going to be for the Ultra after movie, so I was really focusing on huge chords, kind of really summer vibe, and that's why I added the piano at the beginning. And here I can show you the chords on the drop, and then after a bit of this too. By the way, guys, I'm not reading your comments right now too much, but in a bit we can run through, and if there's any specific questions I can answer them, and anything else you want to know, my favorite color, sure, as well. But here, I'll show you guys a little bit on the drop here, all the chords. I did a big, like, lots of layers on this one. On the top end, there's just this, just a white noise. And then layered with that synth that I showed you earlier. Kind of like a mid-rangey synth with a little bit of white noise in silent, I believe that was. Yeah, that was a silent. I've used this on a ton of tracks, and then I layered it with a super stringy, like really detuned, lots of voices, quite wide. I opened it up quite a bit, just with the two, just really trying to open it up, and then with white noise on top of that, just really adds that brightness to it. And then on the bottom here, I think this was like a. Yeah, so I just kind of added like a lead note to kind of follow the chords. So all of that together with a sub bass kind of sounded like super full. And these are the drop chords, so this is everything over the drop. And the one thing I did take actually from the original track, I did this original on the Paris track, had these super fat sounding chords. So what I did was I just took the one root note of the thing, and then I ran it through the same processing with the volume shaper or volume automation on the chords to make it dip. But it's just one repeated thing that was on the original track. That wasn't any of the stems. I just took the track, cut out the lows, made sure there was no kick involved, and it was just that kind of fat sounding saw. So I just added that and it just really took over and really filled out all that empty space in there. And then on top of everything, I did this. I took something about you, that you part of that track. I just threw it in a super simple sampler alliteration, and I made this. And that's over the drop as well. Just another thing that I've seen guys like Zed and a bunch of artists do as well. I used to do it a lot for when I was making progressive house, to add like a vocal thing repetitive over top of it. Just kind of adds that another element. But yeah, altogether it sounds like this. And on those vocals there, when she's going something about you, I just added I did another octave above that. sounds super chickmunky on its own, so I didn't want to keep that on its own. And then I feel bad that I'm not looking at the screen at the same time. Hopefully you guys can see a little bit of what's going on here. But yeah, I added this super chipmunk sound and vocal on top. It sounded crappy on its own, so I just layered it with the lower one as well. I kind of added another element, something a little more creative. And then actually it was cool, while I'm on the vocal train of things, he sent me over, like, they were awesome vocals to work with, but it was really fun because I started working on a couple harmonies on the track as well. So here on this part, I added this harmony. I guess that's not the harmony, but it was just like an echo, and I used it's pretty cool in Logic. Now you can do this, or Logic X. So I used to work in Logic 9, and then obviously upgraded when the update came out. And there's this thing called Flex Pitch, so I can literally take her notes on anything she's singing, and you can do this not with just that. Something keeps cutting out, guys. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what that's about, but anyways, yeah. So I was just messing around with vocals, like I said. You probably missed that part, but on Logic, there's a flex pitch, so you can just adjust the pitch of the vocals, and that can be for synths and everything too. So it's super fun to work with. Yeah, so that's pretty much on the vocal part of things. I didn't do too much to the vocals because what Paris sent me were really tight already. I think I put a tiny bit of compression on them. Not too much. But on the second build-up, I tried to really cut out everything because when I was envisioning how Ultra would be, the after movie would be going on or whatever, I kind of envisioned lots of like this slow motion, and so I wanted to keep all that piano and really tame in the second breakdown. I wanted to lengthen the second breakdown to a little bit longer than the first build-up. And then, yeah, I just cut it out to just the piano again. That was what we had in the intro. And like I said, this arpeggiator he sent me is just so cool. It really made the track. I put a filter on it. I've got a lot of automation going on in the track, like for all my build-ups and everything. I think that's pretty common. I've just taken off the highs on that on the build. Yeah, lots of just steady automation throughout the whole track. Like I got a lot of high cuts on the chords when I'm playing in the drop here. You can just hear it all filtering out. Highs. A lot of the times I'll send them all to a bus, so then I don't have multiple tracks of automation, so they're all running through a bus track, and then I can just automate that. For whatever reason, I don't know what the reason on this track was that I didn't run them all my synths through a bus, but I don't know, it's pretty. I like to do that just to simplify things, and then I create a new track for the bus. And, yeah, but it's super fun. I think I've kind of gone through the basics of the track. I don't know if at this point in time you guys want to ask a little bit more about, you know, how the track kind of came to be, or how the opportunity came, or if you got any questions. I'd love to answer some of those questions for you guys. And like I said previous to this, I was super stoked about all the support on everything. It's been unreal. You guys are dope, and I'm so stoked that I got this opportunity to do the track. It was really fun. It was fun. Actually, after I made the track, I went to LA and I met up with Paris, and we sat down in the studio and started working on something other. I mean, kind of something different, but who knows where that will go. That's in the works. You guys got any questions for me? Can anybody? Can you talk about sidechaining? Yeah, sure, I can talk about sidechaining. For future bass, like what I've done for my tracks is, I'll show you a little bit of this sidechaining that I did here. What I was using actually is a volume shaper for this track anyways. I've been using the LFO tool by Xfer. And yeah, it's super dope. I'm toasty, it is hot in this room. But I used the volume shaper on this track. basically what I'm doing is I'm just automating, you know, it's going on quarter notes here, so you can just hear us. It's just exactly what you'd be doing if you're automating, side chaining or whatever for your kick drum if you're doing electro house or whatever. It's just dipping out all the sound and then letting it bounce back up according to however heavy you want it. You got a really big kick drum, maybe you want to do it more or less. It's kind of up to taste, but for what I was doing on this track, I just threw on a volume shader, kept it at quarter notes, and then I automated in between quarter notes. So you can automate through anything. I find it a little bit easier on Logic though to automate with LFO tool with Xfer, but hopefully that answered your question. Please play. Sure. And you can listen to the rest of it on Spotify or iTunes or SoundCloud or any of that stuff. What's the secret for the perfect master? Emmanuel. Wow. I would probably just say a shit ton of time. Yes, keep putting in the time and effort, and you'll slowly get better and better at it. Like, I mean, my masters are still not perfect. Like, there's still stuff that I hear in tracks, that I've released in the past that still need a little bit of help and a little bit of love. But there's one point when it comes to the track where you're like, all right, you gotta be happy with what you came up with. Hopefully that answered your question, Emmanuel. How many layers are there on Future Bass Synth, and what VSTs are you using? How many layers? It's hard to say. Like, it just depends how full you want the sound, or if you got a synth that really fills out the space that you don't need a lot of other stuff. It depends, man. Completely depends. Kelowna wants to know why you left Electro House. Well, Kelowna, Marius, it's not that I don't like Electro House or that I felt like a little bit creatively stumped. I had been doing it since like 2010, like seriously, and getting stuff signed. I just felt like after a while, it's the same 4-to-the-floor rhythm. I just wanted a little bit of more creative freedom, especially coming from the background that I came from, doing a lot of rock and roll. We're never doing 4-to-the-floor kind of stuff. So it's a little more creative freedom to kind of push away and do some different sounding stuff. I don't know, I've just been having a lot of fun with it and been getting a lot more love from this side anyway. So. But I'm glad you liked it. I don't know if you even liked it, but if you're asking me the question, I assume maybe you thought it was alright, so thank you. Boss was such a sick track. Thank you. I still love that track, guys. I had so much fun with that. Yes, Jonathan, I am using Logic. Was it hard to release a track on Revealed? No. No, they just liked the song, or they reached out for the opportunity. No, just no, it wasn't. It's tough to get to the point where you get your music signed. That's a tough part. So maybe when it's Revealed or Spinning or Moshcat or whatever these labels are, it's tough to get up to that point. But once you're kind of there, it's not as tough. It's not all my songs that I make get signed, but it's definitely a little bit easier now with where I'm at. It's Logic X, yes. I feel you, but I miss Axiom, to be honest. Yeah, man. I feel you, too. Axiom is still played in my sets. So, yeah, we'll have a more in-depth conversation if you're from Kelowna. Maybe we'll bump into each other at a pub. Can you ghost produce for me? Who's that? Karen. I don't know, man. Sorry, guys. My phone keeps like, yeah. Any tips to getting music signed? Make dope music, spend so much time, and focus on the details that you don't think. Well, lots of people hear your music, they don't hear all the work and effort goes into on those details. Focus even more on, because that's just, what's the difference between professional and amateur. What's my favorite VST? Like I said, I love that Xfer LFO thing. Dude, that thing is just the bee's knees. I'm gonna have so much fun with it, with volume automation, with filter. The filter's dope. All the stuff within it is super fun. You can swing your tempo, you can do so much fun stuff. Play the song, please. Alright, okay. When's the next release? I think I have a release coming out July 1st, which is actually coming up pretty quick. But we should start doing, well, it looked like I was bald there. But we should start doing a promo pretty soon here. Nice track, mate. Thank you, mate. Play the snare rolls in the breakdown. What's snare roll? Like my build-up snares? That was just like that's the built-in stock sampler, the X24 in Logic. It's just you throw in your sample, and then you have, it's not even the greatest sample. I just know it because I've used it forever, and it's super quick to do stuff like. But the snare was kind of the cool part about it. It's kind of like super trappy, like it was literally like this short. There's no tail, there's no, and then I guess I automated some reverb. And then the drop. And then it was also layered. Thanks. 10 trees, man. They plant a tree every time. 10 trees are planted for every purchase. So 10 trees. It's a cool hat. Would you recommend to send hard copy of your demo songs? What do you mean by hard copy? Like CDs or like USBs? I think that works in some cases. Like if you're at a revealed thing and you can hand them a USB, I think that, I don't know, I would listen to it. Am I Avicii's brother? The long lost Canadian brother. CD. Yeah, I mean, today it's so commonly to use the internet and private SoundCloud links to send demos, so CDs aren't quite as, I don't know, maybe if they got a CD in the mail, they'd be, maybe it would be something different to listen to, I don't know. No, but for the most part, I don't do any of that. I was just told that Hardwell is watching. Hey, Robert, nice to see ya. Or not really see ya, but glad you're tuning in. How did you get in contact? How did you, wow, okay, wait. How'd you learn to produce? Well, producing on a computer was a lot different than producing music on a guitar. Like I did a lot of band stuff. I did a lot of like folk singer-songwriter stuff. And then I slowly kind of just transitioned out of that to doing more like electronic stuff. I found like so much creative freedom to be in here, and so many creative mistakes that happen in here where I'm doing something and I accidentally throw or drag a region to a different track, and it's like all of a sudden I've got like the coolest sound and I can form a track around that one mistake. I mean, the difference is completely huge, but it's super. I just love producing electronic music. It's dope. But learning to produce was just years of YouTube tutorials, asking questions like yours. Where are you originally from? I am born and raised in Canada, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. It is a mouthful. It is very nice people there, but I wouldn't. The place kind of, it's really cold. I feel like I should talk a little bit more about the track, but I feel like I went over most of the stuff. You guys are asking a lot of label questions. What's the best way to send your stuff to labels? Just like I said, private links, and send it away and cross your fingers if it's good enough, and they will eventually listen to it. Labels are, that's what labels are. They listen to the track, so, and then if it's good, they'll sign it, and you're on the path to success. Woo! Who's my favorite DJ? I don't know, there's a lot of friggin', I can't answer that, man. There's too many good producers out there of so many multiple genres. I mean, can I grab, okay, wait. Man, sorry about my internet, it just sucks sucks. Yeah, so here, I'll try and show this a little bit more in detail of how I set this up. It's just my camera's like attached to this little stand thing, so it's a little awkward. I don't know if you can see how my tracks are laid out. I do all my drums up high. I don't know, it's just the way that I did it. I usually do my sweeps and anything that's like little bass stabs or stuff. Obviously there's nothing in this because it's so chord heavy. But then here's all my build-up stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of automation in here, just kind of generic stuff, like lots of volume rising and, you know, low cuts, high cuts and all my stuff. There's a question here. How many years are you producing from or for now? I'd say electronic music, I've definitely been doing it for about, my first track was signed in 2012, but I had been working on it since like 2009, 10-ish. Just electronic purely, like just on its own. Do I need the kick to be in the same key? My brother, my friend, it is whatever sounds dope. Right? It's all about making stuff sound good. I think we sometimes fall into the category of focusing too much. Obviously, like, I've tuned a lot of my kicks. I've done a lot of that too, and I think definitely for some tracks it works, but sometimes it's just like the kick sounds dope where it's at. I'm gonna leave it. My snare, sometimes I tune my snare, sometimes I don't. It's just kind of use your ears, go for what feels good. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here in the next little bit here. I think I've gone over the track for the most part. It's really great talking to you guys, but maybe we'll do a few more questions and wrap it up in like 10 minutes or so. So fire away, and I'll do the best I can to answer all the rest of those questions. Is it necessary to sidechain everything? I don't. It just depends. Like, if it's my synths, maybe. But in my breakdown, sometimes sidechain it, sometimes don't. It just depends, really. Do you set chords by ear or do you use a visual? Oh, hey, Desero. No, I do it by ear at first, and then I later reference it with analyzers or whatever, like the levels of all my stuff. I usually just all go by ear, so the creative process is really quick. Oh, I can move faster in the creative process. How did I... the full video will be up on the reveal page, so you can see the beginning stuff that I was talking about if you missed anything, by the way. And thanks again for tuning in, guys. This has been really fun. How often do I get producer's block? I used to get a lot more back in the day because I felt like maybe the music I was making wasn't exactly what I wanted to hear. Sometimes it was what I thought I wanted, but at the end of the day, it was... I don't get as much anymore because I feel like I've got rhythms and routines to get around writer's block. Well, my dude Melik, there is so many VSTs for every program. It's hard to say which is the best for EDM. You know, there's VSTs and plugins that I used from the Wave stuff back in the day to mix a drum set that I still use to mix my electronic drum set, so it really depends. Mixing tips, you really just, at the beginning stages, it's really good to use reference tracks. See how loud their snares are popping through the mix, see where their master level's at. Really listen to, oftentimes when you got a cool sound, you're always bumping up the volume like crazy high. You're like, oh man, this is such a cool snare, you know, push it up super high. I think after a while you kind of realize that everything has its set, kind of its set place, and you'll just give it time, and producing and mixing all comes a little bit easier. I'll pay a lot of attention to it. I still have so much to learn. FL or Logic? Well, actually, no, a lot of producers use FL, and it is some really cool things that I can't do in Logic. X is my program that I use, but FL is a really cool program. Logic is a really cool program. It just kind of depends, really. There's cool things in every program, really. Next release, I think I mentioned it earlier, it's going to be July 1st. It's a remix. I don't know if I can say anything about it now. I think we're going to be promoting it for pretty soon. Yo, yeah, dude, bedroom producers. That's what I have been. I'm still writing in my bedroom, but my studio is kind of my bedroom right now. But I think that's how I start. That's how every producer starts. Nobody gets set up in a big old studio with all the proper gear. You start off. I think every producer usually a laptop and some speakers. I still got my first speakers that there were some like Logitech that I bought from Future Shop. So yeah, that's how you start, and then you start to get some success. And how you make the arrangement? The arrangement was just kind of how I felt the song would lay out. But it's also like a few years of producing too under the belt. You start to see how tracks should be formed out and laid out. That's it. Do I like Hardwell? I've never personally met the guy, but I'm sure he sounds like a dope guy. We're signed to the same management, and then I hear cool things about him. Were you nervous to do gigs? Heck yeah, I always get nervous. I think it's good to be nervous. It gets a little easier, like it's not so scary. The first few ones are really intimidating, but after a while it gets more comfortable. Alright, I'm going to do, I've already been on this for a little while. I'm going to do another two or 3 minutes, and then we'll call it quits on this. Thanks again for all tuning in. Just a couple more questions. What MIDI keyboard? It's just an M Audio key rig. I mean, I've got a bigger piano over there too. That's just a normal keyboard. That's a full size, so I can practice out melodies and whatnot. But just use the MIDI for the most part. How do I start a new project? Usually it's with the main attention of the track. So usually on the drop, I'll focus on, drop or whatever, the kind of most rhythmic part of the track. It's kind of what I focus on. And yeah, kind of build the track around that. Little work backwards, work forwards after I've got that kind of main hook that I like. Snickers. I'm from Canada. You guys are great. I think I'm going to wrap it up here, though, really quick. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, this is all about the Something About You remix that I did for Paris Blom. You can find it online everywhere. Thanks so much for the support already. It's been really overwhelming to see. Lots of guys been playing out live, and all you guys been listening to it on Spotify and SoundCloud. Make sure you check it out if you haven't already heard it, or if you're just tuning in. And I'm pretty sure this talk of me talking is going to be up on the revealed page for just whoever missed. So, anyways, thank you so much, and I will catch you guys next time. That was really lame. See you.